you can ask them pretty much anything. Well, maybe not fall down on your crossword. So, whether you want to know about healthy snacks or vitamins for your family, advice on weight management, or how to recover after a late night, ask our wise owls. We're so confident they can answer your questions that we'll give you 20% off your purchase if they can't. Oh, I feel a dance coming on. Holland and Barrett, the good life.
My next step is making pictures, not just taking them.
My next step is getting 100 likes. Mine's printing wirelessly.
My next step is doing my memories justice.
Mine's making the most of a 20 times zoom.
Our next step is mastering low light.
My next step has never been photographed before.
We all have a next step. Whatever yours is, Canon can help you take it.
I take great pride in growing my oranges because I know they're the only thing that goes into Tropicana. My name is Ed Pines, and I've been growing oranges for Tropicana for 16 years. Tropicana Pure Premium is 100% pure fruit juice. We never add water, and we never add sugar. Just the delicious juice of 3 oranges squeezed into every on-the-go bottle. Tropicana.
This summer, whatever break you're looking for, you'll find it here in Ireland. Be part of music festivals nationwide. Get to great sporting events. Or super summer family festivals. Wonderful arts and theatre festivals. And tasty food festivals. This summer, all over the country, the gathering is bringing Ireland to life. DiscoverIreland.ie. The fun starts here.
And you're very welcome back to our continuing coverage of Ireland's challenge at the European Boxing Championships. And it being finals day, of course, there are medal ceremonies to get underway. A short time ago, that's Paddy Barnes' opponent, David Arapetian. He made his way into the ring, as is the matter of course, even though there was no opponent to face him because Paddy Barnes was ruled out of the contest on medical grounds as a result of a broken nose, and Paddy was extremely disappointed. Here he is on the podium receiving his silver medal. It's still a wonderful achievement for the Belfast boxer, but of course Paddy Barnes would far prefer to have been in the ring contesting for gold, but it wasn't to be, unfortunately, from his point of view. But of course Paddy does have a European title already from 2010. It's the silver medal this time, and next we'll see the man who would have been his opponent had that final gone ahead, the Russian David Arapetian, accepting his gold medal. Pity we missed out on that contest, Mick.
Yeah, we were very much looking forward to it, but we sort of half expected that there would be a problem with his nose. But David Arapetian would have proved to be a real live opponent for him. But in saying that, Paddy has a decision over him from the 2010 World Championships, I think it is. So it would have been a cracker.
Well, Michael Conlon was involved in a cracker against Andrew Selby from Wales. Unfortunately, for the third time, Selby came out on top. It was a split decision, and you can see Michael Conlon there is very, very disappointed. But Michael is only 21 years of age. He's got a very bright future ahead of him, and one day that silver will definitely be converted to gold. On this occasion, he came up against Selby, 24 years of age, a vastly experienced opponent, and Selby came out on top. But it was a close contest. For those who missed it, it was a pity that Michael didn't come out on top. But one of these days he will get the better of Selby, won't he, Darren?
Yeah, definitely, I think so. You know, it's getting closer, I suppose, every time, and well, I suppose it's been close every time. But yeah, there is, I suppose, that few years advantage of experience. Michael has, as we've said, come to the top very, very quickly. But Selby has been knocking around there for years, you know, and has quite a lot of competition under his belt. So I think this again is going to bring Michael on, and I think in future, you know, he'll be one to watch. You know, he's still a very young man, and he's going to be definitely knocking around for the next few years, and hopefully bringing home more medals for Ireland.
Yeah, I mean, we must keep the bigger picture in context as well, Mick. I mean, four Irish boxers reaching the finals. Possibly if Joe Ward had a bit of good fortune on his side, Joe would have also been there. I mean, it really demonstrates the strength and depth of Irish amateur boxing at the moment.
It's a fantastic performance from Billy Walsh and the Irish squad. I mean, yes, we were so disappointed with Joe Ward. I mean, a freak accident that put him out of a clash of knees, and Joe getting a dislocated knee. I don't think it'll take him too long to get back from that. You know, he will have the World Championships coming up in October, and all of this squad again will you know, please God, we'll be covering again in October the World Championships. But just to go back to Michael Conlon for a moment, I think if Michael is to progress from here, and he's such a great talent, he's now got to really start listening and learning a few of the finer points of boxing. As Darren and myself were explaining earlier on, he's got to get that right hand of his a bit cuter, bit smarter, and if he polishes up, and between himself and his coach, if he polishes up on a few of those little things, well then the likes of Selby will be beatable next time out.
Yeah, and isn't it a sign of the times, Darren, that we see Irish boxers on the podium getting silver medals, which should be acclaimed because it is a wonderful achievement, but the lads aren't happy with silver anymore. They want the gold.
Yeah, well, myself and Mick were just saying a minute ago, you know, he was disappointed when he got his bronze a few years back, and I was disappointed getting my silver, you know. Unfortunately, that's the nature of boxing, you know. If you cross the line in a 100-metre sprint final and look up and see you got silver, you're over the moon. But to get a silver or get a bronze in boxing means you have to be defeated in a fight, and it's never a nice feeling, and unfortunately, you know, that's the case. You know, there has to be an outright winner, and you know, no matter what stage you're beaten, it's never nice. Unfortunately, you know, as boxers we never like to be beaten, so it's an unfortunate case.
And I suppose for young boxers coming up, Mick, it's really for the benefit of Irish boxing when they see somebody like John Joe Nevin mount the top step of the podium, take the gold medal. That's the sort of thing that will inspire other boxers to go on and achieve that as well.
Without question, and there is a conveyor belt of young Irish fighters out there that are doing well at all the underage tournaments that are going around Europe and so on at the moment, and people like Nevin, like Barnes, like Conlon, Joe Ward and so on, Darren O'Neill here to my left. I mean, they're all they're all looked up to by these young fighters, and they all aspire to doing and surpassing what perhaps these boys have done as well. And I think that the future is really, really bright for Irish boxing. If you go back, you know, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, we couldn't have entertained the thoughts of winning European silver medals, European gold medals. We could not have entertained the thoughts of beating a Russian, a Ukrainian, or somebody from Azerbaijan. I mean, we drew them, we were quivering our boots. Now it is the other way around. You know, they know that if they meet an Irish fighter, they're going to be up against it. And this is all due to, of course, the system that has been set up here now, the high performance unit that Darren has been a member of for quite a number of years now. But you know, I've said previously that if we're going to win medals at world, Olympic and European level, we have to pay for those medals, and by that I meant we've got to invest in them. The Sports Council have done that. They've invested very, very heavily. All of our fighters that are out there are all getting very, very good salaries, you would call them, at the end of the day. Darren has been one of those as well. I'm not sure how that is at the moment, Darren, but the thing is, they've all been very, very well looked after, so they're all but professional fighters.
Yeah, we've spoken about it many times, particularly during our Olympic coverage of boxing, Darren, how important the high performance unit has been for Irish boxers. You've been part of that. I mean, has that been the key, do you think, in terms of our international success of late?
Yeah, definitely. I think it has. You know, I think I joined the high performance when I started back in 2002, 2003. I was I suppose a junior at that stage, but I think your main goal at that stage was to be national champion and say you were on the Irish team. There was no real aspirations of medaling abroad or, you know, achieving great successes, you know, and it took a few years for the culture to change, and that's what it was a cultural change. And Gary Keegan, you know, was a key member of setting that up, and then Billy Walsh and Zara Antia behind it, you know, doing great work, and it was about changing our culture. And you know, we had to learn a few hard lessons through losses, but they brought us to where we needed to be, and eventually we saw the way that we could actually achieve on international stage. So and I think even just to refer back to John Joe there doing so well, and even Paddy and Michael looking a little bit disappointed. I think even for our youth, I think this is it's a great example. John Joe has been to 3 or 4 different European championships, and has not medalled. So he stuck at it, and we can look at it and say he's won 2 bronze in the Worlds and an Olympic medal. But I mean, if you looked at the other members on the team, Paddy as well, if you put out a chart of his losses and wins on the table, yeah, his wins look great, but there's been a number of losses in there, and people always seem to think that, well, these guys have it easy. That's not always the case, and even in my own situation, it took me 5 attempts to win a national senior title. I had beaten European World Olympic medalists and I couldn't win national seniors. So I think it's, and I think for the other guys on the team as well, it's important that they stick at it, because we have such a great bunch of lads there. The likes of Adam Nolan there and Con Sheen, I think, are knocking around years. Tommy McCarthy, a lot of them right through, and they're just short of winning a medal, but I think they will get their chance to break through yet, and as we say, it's great for the youngsters coming up to have someone to look at like that. Yeah,
and they will gain inspiration from the lads who are going out there reaching finals and winning medals, Mick. But what are the because there's such strength and depth at the moment. I mean, it's surprising that so many aren't being lured away to the pro game, because it's an ever-present enticement for them there, isn't it?
It is, and they were certainly trying to lure Nevin away. Conlon is in Belfast. He could certainly be lured away. His brother is quite an accomplished pro as well. Joe Ward, in that heavy division that he's in, light heavy, would certainly be a huge attraction. He would be a massive attraction. But what has kept all of those boys in the amateur game is the high performance unit that is going at the stadium, and the fact that they're all on good bursaries from the National Sports Council. That is what's kept them. They're all the top fighters, like Nevin, like Barnes, and so on. They're on about, I think it's about 40 grand or so a year. Plus they're on bonuses now for medals here, bonuses for world medals, bonuses for Olympic medals. So it's for doing something that they like doing as well, that they would do anyway. But the thing is, they're doing it now in a professional manner, and I am convinced, Peter, that any sport that would put in the time, the commitment, and have the money and resources available to them that we have in boxing, they could also be successful. But the amount of training that these guys here do, Darren has been a part of it for quite a while, is phenomenal. They don't just train 3 times, 4 times, 5 times a week. They train twice a day. They live together, they sleep together, they laugh together, they fight with one another. And if you're not good enough for the team, there is somebody else waiting there, and he knows that, and he's found that out to his cost now with Jason Quigley. If you're not good enough right at that time, or if you have some little setback, there is somebody else waiting in the wings to get in. It's ironic that both of us are Kilkenny men, and here we are talking about commitment. It is the same in Kilkenny hurling, and that is why they're having the success that they have. If you're not good enough today, there's another centre field man, another full forward, another full back, somebody else that's looking for your place. And competition in training is deadly for Kilkenny. It is deadly when these guys are down at the National Stadium as well, and they all want their opponent to lose, because then I'm next in line. So it's a terrible thing to be saying, but that's the nature of the game. You want to be in there, you want to be number one. And it's competitive.
It's still called amateur boxing, Darren, but I mean it is full time. Okay, there are no big prize fights, purses on.
Without a doubt, I think, all of this, none of it would be possible without the Irish Sports Council and their funding, and they have to be thanked for quite a lot of, most of it, I have to admit, within boxing, and quite a lot of sports will be quite thankful to them as well. But look, as Mick here says, we do an awful lot of training together. We spend an awful lot of time together, So that is really where we, it is an individual sport, but we form a bond there. And I think, I know it was a big time at the Olympics last year. I was knocked out, and it was very, very hard to deal with. But at the same time, I so badly wanted the other boys to win, And if I could win, I wanted them to win. And even today, as much as I'd love to be in Minsk, they're competing in the final. If I can't win it, then I want Jason to win it. Do you know that kind of way? Because if you can't do it, then whoever beats you might as well.
Well, this is what it's all about. The culmination of years of effort, hard training, and of course an abundance of ability. Here is John Joe Nevin in Minsk now, about to receive gold for his European Championship victory.
Draped in the tricolour. And presently we shall have the presentation, Vladimir Prodyvyus, President of the Ukraine Boxing Federation, with George Katulin from Belarusia, Secretary General of the Olympic Council in Belarus,
by the Secretary General of the
national costume of the Flower Girls, and it's a very special moment for John Joe Nevin and for Irish boxing. Bronze medals come up first, and on the right of the screen,
Aram Avagyan, Armenia, и Владимир Nikitin, Российская Федерация.
And
the
Nikitin,
third place have won.
Nikitin of Russia.
Avagyan, Armenia,
Fortunate name if you want to give up cigarettes. Nikitin.
The Russian Federation.
Vladimir Nikitin. I was unlucky enough to meet Nevin in top form, and Avagyan from Armenia has always produced good boxers. Even back in the old USSR days, they always produced one or two who were really, really worthy champions. So there are the two bronze medalists of the 40th European Boxing Championships. They were held here in Minsk once before, going back to 1998. But more about that anon. Next medal we shall see will be that to be presented to Butsenko, Mykola. Only 21. They reckon big things from him in the future.
Ukraine.
The Ukrainians have been saying that they expect Rio to see the best of this man. But of course, all being well, there'll be somebody familiar there to meet him in Rio. And that man is John Joe Nevin. So would the next contestant please stand on the podium, please? Here he is. Maybe give us a little glimmer of a smile. How proud he must be. But we certainly are.
Champion 2013 is John Joseph Nevin, Ireland.
First man to win, first Irishman to win 2 medals at the World Championships, bronze there. Terrific boxer, terrific stylist. So proud of the boxing game. He loves it. He just loves it. He loves the WSB. And here is Around the Vein. Words by Peter Carney. John Joe Nevin, you're a star. From Jimmy Ingle at the National Stadium in Dublin in 1939 to John Joe Nevin in Minsk, Belarus in the year of 2013. That is the 9th time that an Irish boxer has won gold at the European Senior Championships. It's a proud day, studio.
It certainly is, Jimmy, and we don't hear Aaron Nevin ring out at many big sporting occasions. But we've heard it today, and it comes courtesy of John Joe Nevin, who is the European Bantamweight champion for 2013, and he did it in wonderful style and deserves all the plaudits and all the credit that comes his way. We have lots more action still to come from these European Boxing Championships. We'll be back right after this break.
really fast?
No.
Do you eat it on Sundays?
Hey!
Hold on, guys.
Daddy, be careful on the road. Jerry?
We're getting out of here. We've lost the East Coast. Europe's still dark. What is this? We don't know.
Break up with lingering food. Keep an extra white bottle pack close by and help maintain your teeth's natural whiteness. Eat, drink, chew. Extra.
Wait for it. Wait for it. There it is! Summer's arrived at Burger King with 4 new freshly prepared smoothies and frappes. Taste summer today.
Meteor wrote the book on value. Page 20 says, seize the deal. Leg it to Meteor for our best ever €20 top-up deal. And now you'll get unlimited free any network text and Meteor calls, plus loads more free internet, and you keep the €20 credit. But it's only available for a limited time. So, switch your upgrade in-store and seize the deal.
Here in Dundalk, this Rice Krispie Squares totally chocolatey window display, made by shopkeeper Ali Chapman, has become the 11th most popular tourist attraction in Ireland, overtaking the Blarney Stone, Cliffs of Moher, and
it's all lies. They're not even square.
She thought text messaging was the best thing ever. If I had the big test, she'd text me and see how it went. My entire life, my mum had smoked. She was 45 when she was diagnosed with lung cancer, and she was 46 when she passed away. It's not just for a day, and it's not just for a month, it's for the rest of my life without her.
For 10 years, we were the beautiful and the damned. Now we're on the other side of paradise. In this week's Sunday Independent, we look back on the 10 years from 1997 to 2007, when Ireland made and lost a fortune. From the property and the parties, to the money, the madness, and the murders. The Sunday Independent was there to chronicle it all. Don't miss The Age of Indulgence, only in this week's Sunday Independent.
At Spar, we're turning prices into savings by reducing the cost of our products so they're the cheapest prices around. This week you'll find Kellogg's Crunchy Honey and Nut Flakes 500 gram for €3. Barefoot Californian Wines 750ml, only $7.99 each. And Spar Extra Virgin Olive Oil 500ml for only $2.49. Get the cheapest prices around under the tree at Spar.
This changes everything. eFibre, unlimited super-fast fibre broadband from Aircom is here. With speeds of up to 70 meg, your family can connect effortlessly, all at the same time and faster than ever before. Better still, all Aircom customers can upgrade to eFibre for free. It's time to bring your home together. Call 1-800-503-303. eFibre from Aircom. Life changing.
Last year, you helped us raise over €225 million for good causes. Thank you.
And you're very welcome back to our coverage of the European Boxing Championships. And before we return to Minsk for the middleweight final, let's remind ourselves of how Jason Quigley reached the final. His opponent yesterday was the current world champion, Ukraine's Yevgen Kitrov.
That's good stuff in both hands by Quigley. This is no doubt the best opposition that Quigley's been up against, and my goodness, he's performing well. He's certainly no respecter of reputation. He may be a respecter, but he's certainly not no. He's taken a few heavy ones there on the ropes. Be wise to get off them, which he has done. Last half minute. Very good semi-finalist in the middleweight division, 75k, the upper limit. See, his right hook was responded to by Quigley. You have to say that Quigley up against it here, there's no doubt about that. He's second best of two at the moment, but he's putting up a brave show and a very competent one at that. The end of round one. But this Ukrainian world champion is an outstanding performer. How about that? Quigley wins 2 of the judges' decisions. Again, he's on the darn ropes. Moves off them now. Now he's going to give back a little of what he took. Last 20 seconds then for Jason Quigley. Now can he keep quite tough on the ropes there? Quigley very much alive in this middleweight semi-final. He'll be practically unknown to the vast audience around Europe, but Ireland, they certainly know him, and the regulars at the stadium know him as well. Well, there it is, the confirmation of the scores. He got 2 of the judges, so Quigley is ahead with 1 round to go. He beat Hartel of Germany in the quarter-final. Great win that, because Hartel was the man who beat Darren O'Neill in the Olympics, and in the previous round he beat R.B. Shakev of Austria in a unanimous one, 30-27-27 and a 30-28. Yes, nice two-hander there from Quigley. Puffing and blowing a little more, the Ukrainian. Staggered a little bit again. Quigley gets caught on the ropes, but he dodged well. Krzysztof hits hard and often. Good right hand from Quigley. Jason Quigley. Youth champion in the past. European under-23 champion. This is with the big boys now. And don't come bigger than a world champion. But there's still plenty left in the Irishman. Just been told, obviously, not to be making a 360 turn, but there's no malice aforethought. And here we come for a very important last half minute. That was a very good right hand from Quigley there. Last 20 now. Quigley goes after his man to get the vital points that will confirm. Can he make the final of the Europeans? If he does, this will be a magical show for the man from Finn Valley. Punch for punch, move for move. Last couple of seconds of this middleweight semi-final, and it is an absolute cracker. Down on his knees to thank the Lord and the coaches. He's done it, he's done it, he's done it. Jason Quigley has gone into the final of the European Championships.
Before I got into that ring, Billy, Zor, Eddie, my father back at home, everyone was telling me, that's the time you need to pull it out of the bag. I pulled it out of the bag in the first fight, and I knew I could do it again, because I know anybody in this tournament doesn't want it as much as I do.
Yes, the sheer epitome of desire. A magnificent performance there yesterday by Jason, and you know him very well. You've boxed him, you know how talented he is. But after 2 rounds yesterday, it looked as though he was up against the world champion. It looked as though he could be in trouble in the 3rd round. How did he work his way through that final round, in your opinion, Darren?
Yeah, very difficult. I think I was in a similar situation I was talking about with Mick earlier here against another Ukrainian when I had my chance. But I think, you know, Jason has been quite similar He had to serve his time for a few years before he could get a breakthrough into the senior team as #1, as had I. And I suppose having been in that #2 spot, you wanted so much more, you know. And I think it was his desire in that last round that, you know, you could see in the last few seconds there, they're up against the ropes, and, you know, I suppose you mightn't call it the cleanest punches, but it's a good, at that stage, it's a good dragging out you, or a good brawl nearly, you know, because you're just, both of them were wrecked, they're giving like everything they have left in the tank, and he just really wanted it more, you know. That Ukrainian had been there, he'd won a world title before, but you could see that Jason was very eager there, and, you know, he kept fighting right to the very bell, and you could see his pleasure and joy at the end, you know.
Yeah, I think it went down as the fight of the day yesterday, and the way Jason came out early on in the fight, Mick, he certainly took it to the world champion, which was a very brave thing to do.
Well, he's certainly in his battle scarred too as a result of it. You know, he's got 2 black eyes, but as Darren said here, you know, we all have to serve our apprenticeships, and he has, and in serving that apprenticeship he lost out twice to Darren at national senior level. And I remember talking to him, I've said this before about him, having lost to Darren. He was outside the national stadium and he was crying, and I had a few words with him, and I told him, look, you're only a youngster yet, you know. Darren was at that stage, Darren, you were 24, 25 years old, I said, your day will come, you know. And he served his apprenticeship, and now he's getting the rewards for it. I watched him, of course, at the under-23 level. I mentioned this yesterday. At national level, and he was hugely impressive, very impressive. And then, of course, went off to Europe and cashed in on that, and won the European under-23 title. And I wouldn't bet on him, against him, I should say, taking this title here today. But that win yesterday was outstanding, beating the #1 seed, the world champion. That was big stuff. And the fact that he had beaten the German Hartel, I said, you know, Quigley's in form.
Yeah, I mean, if Jason manages to win a gold medal here, Darren, it's probably the most deserved gold medal of the entire championships, because he hasn't had any easy contests. There's been no cakewalk for Jason right throughout, and in the final today he's meeting the guy who's the #2 seed. He's already beaten the world champion, now he's meeting the #2 seed.
Yeah, well, I mean, Hartle, obviously I have my own experiences with him, but I was very disappointed I didn't get back to get my revenge on him. But look, I mean, that was a great win for Jason, and it was obviously going to boost his confidence again, you know. And I think Jason did exactly the right thing yesterday against the world champion. He caught me off guard in the national championships. He came out and did the exact same thing. He showed no respect. He came straight in, and that was it. It was coming for his fight, you know. And it took me 2 rounds to get going, and it, you know, to realise what was happening. And I think the same thing happened to Ukrainian, and he did exactly the right thing, you know. He came out and he boxed his fight, and he didn't worry about who was in front of him. And I think that's, I suppose, has been our mantra in high performance for the last few years. Get your performance right, and don't worry about anyone else. You know, and Jason has been living a high performance lifestyle. You know, not just in training. His lifestyle has been, you know, second to none on that team. You know, and a lot more of us could aspire to doing so as well. But you know, I think he's a great chance today. He's boxing the Romanian, who I have myself twice, and I can't see a reason why Jason can't win this. You know, he's after beating 2 great opponents.
Yeah, Tony. This is him in action yesterday. His pathway to the final has been relatively straightforward compared to what Jason has had to encounter. So, I mean, who's at an advantage here, Mick?
I would say that, you know, Jason Quigley is really the man in form at the moment, and Darren beat Tony, beat him twice, it has to be said, and there's no reason to believe that Jason Quigley can't do it. Jason really, he said himself, nobody wants it more than him. Of course everybody wants it, but he desperately wants it, you know. And he's had a fantastic year. He's unbeaten in about 25 contests. That's an extraordinary run of wins for him. So I think he's going to be the man to beat. I think he's going to be very difficult to beat, because he really wants it. And you know, the injuries he has are just superficial ones. Little black eyes just mean nothing at all to him. He would gladly put up with 2 really big black eyes if he can do this. But he will really want it badly. And I mentioned here yesterday, I love the way he described of how he started his boxing, like a lot of us did. I certainly did too. And you may have sparring your older brother or with your dad in the kitchen, and sometimes Delph being knocked all over the place, you know, and your mammy telling you don't mind the dresser, you know. But but that's typical the way lots of young fighters do start like that, you know, with their dads and with their brothers.
Yeah, we I suppose have to issue a word of caution, because every fighter is dangerous. But having boxed Tony, what do you think Jason will need to be wary of? I mean, what does Tony bring to the table?
Realistically, I think Gerard Toney's going to play right into Jason's hands. His main aspect is that he's very strong. You know, he does hold his hands high, but he's very, very strong. Head and body shots, you know, he could take you out of it with either hand, but I don't see that being the case. I think I won't say predictable, but he's a little bit nearly robotic in comparison to Jason. Jason's very, you know, he's very agile and he moves quite a lot. You're going to see Gerard Toney come forward with his hands up, and he'll come quite heavy-footed, quite heavy-handed, you know, but I think he's just going to play right into Jason's hand. Jason has that lovely step-back counter, you know, and again, he's not going to wait. If Gerard Toney's standing with his hands up waiting for Jason's just going to throw his shots and move to the side, you know, and I think it's going to be straightforward enough for Jason, because I think he's just informed him, and he's very, very confident.
Well, there's no doubt Jason Quigley has been the surprise package of these championships, eliminating the world champion. And ahead of today's final, our reporter in Minsk, Hugh Cahill, got the views of 2008 Olympic silver medalist Kenny Egan.
Jason Quigley today, first of all, for me, untrained eye, he's been so impressive. What do you make of his week so far?
It's a dream come true for Jason, you know, and it's not only, you know, over the last 5 or 6 years, we've had this string of middleweights, you know, that have always gone through the ranks, starting from Andy Lee, right to Darren Sutherland, Darren O'Neill, and now Jason Quigley. He's just been unbelievable all week. His fitness and his determination and his will to win. In his fight against Hertel, the German, he produced a fantastic performance to win that fight. And then again, in the ring yesterday with the world #1, the Ukrainian, you know, he had to dig deep in every round to win that fight. And it just shows, you know, that his will to win is so high at the minute. And you know, there's no reason why he can't go in today and you know, perform again and bring home that gold medal.
What makes Jason so good in your opinion? I mean, we've seen him go in against tougher, stronger opponents, but that doesn't seem to bother or faze him at all.
Even yesterday when he boxed the Ukrainian Krytov, you know, his work rate, you see him there, he was throwing flurries of 7 and 8 punches, and that's what he needs to do. You know, he's not the strongest middleweight in the world, but that's okay. He has fantastic speed, his movement around the ring is brilliant as well, you know, and his fitness, he's probably one of the fittest lads on the team.
That probably comes from his background at underage, and as you said, he's under 18, under 23, so he has that base there.
Definitely, you know, he's been under 23 European champion. He's senior champion now, but he's always been knocking on the door. You know, he's been a senior boxer for the last 4 or 5 years. So he's 23 or 4 now, and he's coming. You know, this is just his time now. You know, and all the hard work is done. He has to go out there today now and perform. And you know, there's no reason why he can't bring home the medal.
The world's going to take note of that name now. He said he beat the world champion. He's got the Worlds coming up in October. How good can Jason Quigley be?
I think, you know, if he wins or loses today, I think he'll still be seeded for the World Championships, you know. But again, you know, that's down the line. He's just gonna look after today and enjoy it, you know, because this, as I said earlier, this is what it's all about. It's all about boxing in major finals, and he has a great chance now to go on now and win the gold medal.
And just personally, he seems like a really nice lad as well. You know, very clever, very intelligent person, and can hold a conversation or two, as we found out this week.
Yeah, definitely. You know, he's a lovely guy. As he said, real down to earth, normal guy. But just he loves to train, he loves to compete, and this is you know, I suppose his zone, and this is where he's going to flourish.
Yes, Kenny Egan there talking about Donegal's Jason Quigley, who fights in his first senior European final in just around 20 minutes' time. The countdown continues. We'll have that contest for you after the break, so do stay with us.
Have you heard the news? Nestle Kids cereals have a delicious new recipe with all the great taste that kids love. And best of all these Nestle favourites still contain whole grain and fibre. Nestle Kids cereals. Just look for the green banner.
Arnott's summer sale, now on, with up to 50% off almost everything. Shop online at arnotts.ie.
It's Summer Sizzlers at DID Electrical. This Toshiba Full HD 46-inch LED TV at $499. This large 8kg 1200 spin washing machine at $299. This 10.1-inch dual-core tablet with the latest Android Jelly Bean for just €129. This lowest ever price Miele vacuum at only $159. That's a Summer Sizzler weekend at DID Electrical.
At Spar, we're turning prices into savings by reducing the cost of our products so they're the cheapest prices around. This week you'll find Kellogg's Crunchy Honey and Nut Flakes 500 gram for €3. Barefoot Californian Wines 750ml only $7.99 each. And Spar Extra Virgin Olive Oil 500ml for only $2.49. Get the cheapest prices around under the tree at Spar.
Wishing and hoping and thinking and praying each night of his charms that won't get you into his arms. So Mom, looking to find love.
At Vodafone, our coverage is getting even better across Ireland. So if you don't get that call, it's probably not our network.
And kiss him and love him and show.
Last year, you helped us raise over €225 million for good causes. Thank you.
Wait for it. Wait for it. There it is! Summer's arrived at Burger King with 4 new freshly prepared smoothies and frappes. Taste summer today.
And now another good thing on our great network. The new Vodafone Smart 3. Don't miss it.
At Holland & Barrett, our staff are qualified in nutrition and supplements, so you can ask them pretty much anything. Well, maybe not fall down on your crossword. So, whether you want to know about healthy snacks or vitamins for your family, advice on weight management, or how to recover after a late night, ask our wise owls. We're so confident they can answer your questions that we'll give you 20% off your purchase if they can't. Oh, I feel a dance coming on. Holland & Barrett, a good life.
Now you can enjoy saying yes to chocolate. New Kellogg's Special K Biscuit Moments. 2 delicious chocolate biscuits. At 98 calories, say yes to biscuits. New Kellogg's Special K Biscuit Moments Chocolate. What will you gain?
Warts are easily transmitted and are often difficult to treat. Now there is a new, fast and effective treatment. Endwarts can be used by the whole family. Apply just once a week, simple and convenient. Buy Endwarts today, only available in pharmacies.
And now, the best for last.
Yoplait fruit yogurt with milk, juicy fruit pieces, and no artificial sweeteners, no preservatives. That's the Yoplait promise. No family can resist Yoplait fruit yogurt. So simply good.
And you're very welcome back. Still to come on our coverage of the European Boxing Championships. Jason Quigley, who faces Romania's Bogdan Iordatoni. That's a little bit later on, as I said, now in about 15 minutes' time. In the meantime, if you've just joined us late, I'm afraid you've missed our first gold medal of these championships. From Mullingar, boxing of the Cavan Boxing Club, John Joe Nevin took gold in the bantamweight division. It was a dominant, stylish performance, a wonderful victory for Nevin, who already has 2 World Championship bronze medals in his trophy cabinet, along with the Olympic medal, of course, from London 2012, and now it's gold at the European Championship. John Joe Nevin. And a little earlier on we saw the medal ceremonies with Paddy Barnes receiving his silver medal. Paddy unfortunately unable to box today because of that broken nose, and he had to be withdrawn on medical grounds, but he received his silver medal. And of course Michael Conlon was narrowly beaten, a split decision in his contest against the Welsh fighter, but it was a silver medal as well for Michael Conlon. But gold for John Joe Nevin, and we're keeping our fingers crossed that Jason Quigley might be able to bring home a gold as well, and we count down to that contest. Okay, before we continue counting down to Jason's fight, we can hear now from John Joe Nevin.
John Joe, European champion, how does that sound?
Yeah, it's good. You know, I have the silver, the bronze, and now the gold. So, you know, bronze of the world, silver. But as Billy said today, and Eddie and Zora, you know, we weren't taking silver home this time. We were aiming for the gold.
You're so calm in there. Movement was absolutely brilliant. Just picking them off with shots. First round, absolutely brilliant start for you.
Calm. It's alright for you to say. You're not the one getting punched.
I said to Ken there, you look like the Fonz, you were so cool in there.
You weren't the one getting punched.
No, but you're happy with how everything went. I mean, you won all 3 rounds.
Yeah, again, you know, it's down to conditioning, and you know, we did a great camp away with the Ukraine boxers, so I sparred them before I came out here, you know. And again, I knew I had everything done right just to go in and perform.
You said the last round in your last fight you were getting a bit tired, but you picked it up there. You seemed brilliant.
Yeah, and maybe it would have gotten a bit lazy, but the boys seemed to tell me that I lost the second round. Well, they weren't sure of it, so I thought I lost it then, so I had to go out and try for the last one. Maybe I could have gotten a bit lazy if I didn't know that. I knew it was 2 up.
So a bit of a kick in the ass there in the second round, Billy Walsh. Have to be proud of this man, though.
Absolutely, he's been fantastic throughout the championship. You know, he's performed. And what he is, he's a world-class athlete, you know, and he's performed to the very, very best. And we came here today, you know, it's nice to win a silver medal, but to win a gold medal is what it's all about. And we weren't happy with a nice win, you know.
Yes, nice interview there with John Joe Nevin. It was interesting to hear John Joe speak because we can see a very confident demeanour in the ring, but he certainly isn't going into the contest overconfident, is he?
No. As I say, John and I have roomed together, you know, for years now. But I think Mick will probably verify me here. Most boxers will have their doubts before they get in, you know, and it's like you can prepare as much as you want, but there is that someone there in the shadows, you know, that you don't know what's going on, and you may have boxed them 10 times before, but you'll always kind of talk yourself down a little bit and get rid of that negative side just before, you know, a few hours before. And then I suppose once John Joe got to the dressing room, the nerves would have settled. He would have gotten the pads. He would have started getting the feel for it again, you know. I think as he walks to the ring, then, you know, all those demons are gone, and he's ready to rock and roll, and he's you know, he's very confident. You can see in his stride down, his chest is puffed out. He's ready to go. You know, he's very, very confident at that stage.
Yeah, and you can see the pride in taking the gold, can't you?
Yeah, I can't imagine John Joe Nevin having any doubts about you know, about performing. He does it so well. He is cocky. He is confident. He knows what he's capable of doing. And as Billy Walsh and Zor Anthea would be saying to him, you know, just get out and box to your full potential, and if you do, it's going to take one heck of a fighter to beat you. You know, he's so talented, and he goes out and he just does it. He's so cool. He is so relaxed. Maybe inside there might be that little bit of tension, but he certainly doesn't give that impression at all. He's always cool, relaxed, calculating when he gets in there, picking off those lovely clean shots.
Yeah, he did it in great style indeed. Gold medal for John Joe Nevin. It was silver for Michael Conlon. He was beaten by Andrew Selby, and we can hear what Michael had to say about that contest now. He was talking to him.
Tough fight, that one.
Very tough fight. I knew it was going to be tough all along. Andrew's a fit kid, so I was up for it, but just wasn't my day today, but I'm happy enough.
I mean, you've fought a few times before, so sometimes harder when I suppose there's no element of surprise there. You know you sort of came so well.
It's always going to be a hard fight. He's world class, world #1 league, so it's going to be tough, but it was good fight, and I was happy with the fight. I could have done a lot more, but okay.
Well, a disappointed Michael Conlon, needless to say, but one thing you can sense from that interview, you know, you can see that he has learned from what has been a painful experience, because he wanted gold really badly at these championships.
Yeah, like they all do, but he's come a long way in a short space of time, and as I said earlier, if he, you know, polishes up those few little things we were talking about, the right hand and so on, he's one heck of a fighter. I love watching him fight. He's very, very good technically. You know, nobody's perfect. It's just that little bit of polish that needs to be put on, in particular that right hand. But he's a joy to watch. Got great footwork, good anticipation of punches coming towards him and so on, and a little bit of polish, and he will eventually get up there and get gold. And we can look forward actually to October, when they'll be all heading to the World Championships again, that entire squad. I'm not sure if it'll be the full entire squad, because this man here beside me wants to have a say in who should go, whether it should be him or Jason Quigley, and that's going to be a very interesting one, you know, because Jason of course has the win over Darren in the national seniors, but to be fair to Darren O'Neill in those seniors, he went into those not having had a single contest, which is a crazy way to do it. He can explain himself why that happened. I think it was injury, Darren, but if Quigley is now silver medalist, and perhaps he might even be gold medalist, and I don't know, it might be very difficult not to send him to the Worlds either.
Yeah, well, Darren, that'd be a contest a lot of people would pay a lot of money to see. I mean, what was the situation with regard to the nationals?
Yeah, well, obviously when we got back from the Olympics, you have your time off, but once we went back training, we were back training maybe a week, 2 weeks maybe, and picked up a shoulder injury on my right shoulder, and it's still sniggling a bit. I've got 2 injections in it to try settle it at different stages. One just before Christmas, which put me out of training for a few weeks. Yeah. So I couldn't properly get a fight in because I couldn't use my right hand properly. And then I suppose we just got too close to championships that it was too risky to get a fight in case it was cuts or further injuries. So yeah, look, I mean, I got in and I said to Jason and his dad, as I walked over just before the decision, and I knew I had been, or after the decision, I said I knew I'd been beaten. I said, Ring Rust got the better of me. I said, I'll give you this one. But no, I mean, I take nothing from, as I said earlier, Jason came out, and he came straight in from the start and he fought his fight, and I was left slow getting out of the block, so he deserved it in that stage. But I would definitely love another bite of cherry.
Yeah, well, it reflects very well on Darren that Jason's in this final, doesn't it?
Indeed it does, but it was a crazy situation for Darren going into those championships without having had a contest at all. And again, I go back to comparing a team going into an All-Ireland final in Gaelic games straight in without having had a match beforehand. Very, very difficult to do, and even at that I think it ended on a count back. So in other words, they ended up level and they just had to go to the scorecards again to get a decision on it. But Jason Quigley will be a much improved fighter, and Darren and myself, we've already said that he will be a much improved fighter. He will be much more confident, and despite the fact that Darren didn't have a contest going into those national seniors, Quigley, if they do have to fight, and that's saying if, he will prove a very difficult man for Darren O'Neill to beat.
Yeah, well, Darren, we certainly wish you well on the road to full recovery, and hope you get back. And as I say, it's a contest that many people would like to go along and see. In the meantime, we'll be continuing to count down to Jason's final, but we've got to hear from Paddy Barnes. As I mentioned earlier on, Paddy was unable to fight today because of that broken nose. He was desperately disappointed not to be able to appear in the final. He is a silver medalist, and Hugh caught up to chat with him.
He would have loved to fight today, but just not to be.
Oh yeah, I was devastated I couldn't fight today, and I felt coming in this tournament I was defending champion, because the last Europeans I couldn't enter because of the injury, and I feel gutted I couldn't defend my title, and win another European gold.
Could you just tell for people back home what happened last night?
I had to go and get an X-ray, after my fight, and it came up. It was broken my nose, and I couldn't fight on. I was so sore, so it was. But to be honest with you, I think it's been broke from my first fight, But I just kept fighting on. But it kept getting worse and worse and worse,
Was it? Did you want to fight on, and we were told, look, it's not in your best interest, or what was said?
Yeah, because I'm stupid that I would have fought on, but I think the right decision was made not to fight on, but I would have fought on, but I think the right decision was made not to.
And the World Championships coming up as well, I suppose you had to have one eye on that really coming in a row.
Yeah, that's one of the main reasons why too, because my nose is weak. I don't want to seriously damage it and hinder my progression towards the World Championships.
Yes, he's not stupid at all. He's a real warrior, and certainly if it was down to Paddy Barnes to make the decision on his own, he would have been in the ring earlier today. But Mick, on reflection, and Paddy even admitted it himself, it probably was the right decision in the longer term.
In the longer term it probably is, because he has the Worlds coming up in October, but we might have mentioned earlier that I think that nose of his is a problem he had before he went to the championships, because certainly when they were going out to training camp before the championships, the Billy Walsh requested a headguard especially for Paddy, one that covered all of his nose area. Yeah. So he did have the problem, but I'm sure once he started, the letters started flying in these championships in round one, perhaps then it did get broken. But it was obvious, I think, certainly was obvious to me anyway, his nose was broken in that last contest. You could see it very clearly.
Yeah, so maybe the break in a way, Darren, will benefit Paddy, because obviously he has his sights set on the Worlds now as well.
Yeah, definitely. As Mick has said here, his nose was bothering him before that. As far as I can remember, it was Czech Republic with me earlier in the year, and now again. So it's clearly a weakened bone, and if he had gone in there today and fought on and got another shot or two on it, it could weaken the bone quite a lot, and it would be quite hard to get back, I suppose, fit and ready for October. And at the end of the day, he's coming away from this as a medal, and he wants the medal at Worlds. And as he said himself, you know, I alluded to it earlier, and he'd be glad I was here to translate what he was saying, but
I understand.
Yeah, slowly we're getting it. But as he said, you know, coming into this championship, he felt he was defending champion because he missed 2011 because of injury, and you know, he beat the 2011 champion there in his previous fight. So, you know, he wanted to defend his title, and that meant an awful lot to Paddy. You know, we've often joked about it with him, but yeah. So I mean, he's obviously devastated he can't, but. He's fallen short of words before, and I think he wants to prove that he is that world-class boxer that we all know he is.
Yeah, well, Paddy Barnes has to be content with silver on this occasion, but there is no doubt the Belfast boxer will be setting his sights high as always when those World Championships come around. OK, we're about 8 to 10 minutes away from Jason Quigley's final. In the meantime, we're going back to Minsk and we're going to join the final round of the men's welterweight final. Vesputin against Mariusz Jan. Let's rejoin Jimmy McGee.
Yes, it's been a good fight. The man in black, or dark blue as it is, Germany. Big puncher, stopped one opponent already in these championships and had 2-3 nils after that. The man in red from Russia, Vesputin, hasn't lost a round in these championships yet until the first round here today. He lost that one. So the German is in the lead going into this last round. It's anybody's contest for the welterweight title. 69 kilograms is the division. Russia have already won 2 gold medals in these championships. It's 1 apiece for Wales, for Ireland and the Ukraine. And Russia going to move to 3, in which case, well, they were hot-on favourites to be the top nation in these championships. Wouldn't surprise me if Ireland finished up 2 or 3 in the ranking of the nations, which is taken very seriously by ABA, the controlling body of world amateur boxing. Germany is a huge puncher. If you were asked to contrast between the two of them, the man in the dark blue is a big puncher. The man in red is a very fast, one of the fastest punchers and movers in these championships. And I've seen a lot of them in the championships, and he's looked really good. Fast southpaw indeed. Somehow or other, southpaws always look to have something different. It's like left-footed footballers. They always seem to have something else, and they're neater and tidier. I think it's just an illusion, but however, for the moment, I'm prepared to go along with it. It's Vesputin in red for Russia with 1 minute and a quarter to go in what's been a cracking welterweight final of essentially heavy hitting. That is the standout item on this one, particularly from the German, who throws in a hook that is deadly on either hand. There was first of all a right hand, then a left hand. The left hand, luckily for the Russian, was taken on the top of his arm. He'll have a sore arm this evening, won't be able to raise a glass of whatever he drinks, milk I presume. Tied up in the centre of the ring. Now the form seems to be with in this third round, seems to be with the Russian. Nice classy movement from him, very quick hands. He can throw 3 shots while the average fellow only throws 2. That's his stock and trade, but the German is a really big puncher. Last half minute then, so the welterweight crown is up for grabs here. Remember the drill, only 3 of the 5 judges' scores are counted, and even the judges themselves at this moment don't know which of them it is. They're selected at random, and we will know only when the announcement is made at the end. That's a big right hand from the German to the body, and you don't see all that many body shots in amateur boxing, but that one was a cruncher, a very good one indeed. The big German thinks he's done it. The Russian thinks he's done enough in the third round. He certainly was busy in that last round, and they're going, as I said earlier on, for their 3rd medal. Now, right now, everything's going through massive computers, the old system. The old days are gone when you marked up your card and the referee came over and collected the ball and he had a quick look at it, make sure you could count, and then he handed them to the PA announcer. God, those were the days, my friend. We thought they'd never end. But there you are. That seems like a hit song for somebody. Russian is playing to his supporters, and there's quite a few of them here. Is it going to be the Russian 3rd gold medal? I don't know. I'm not so sure about that. With this big hitting German, certainly put up a very good show. Muratyan. But Vesputin has got the verdict. He's got the verdict. Very close. I should imagine very close. But there you are. You have a look at it there. How close was it? very. Only Judge B had truly made up his mind. So Vesputin has won by a comfortable margin in the end, except for one judge. And so that now means that on the scorecard of the scoring nations, after 6 finals, it's 3 for Russia, 1 each for Ukraine, Wales and Ireland.
Yes, and I was just reflecting there on the number of Russian boxers who have made the finals at the European Championships. A total of 6 boxers, and they are the powerhouse of European boxing at the moment. But of course, next in line behind them, the Irish team. It's a remarkable achievement. We mentioned it earlier on, Mick. 4 boxers in the finals, just behind the Russians, and they have 6.
Well, it's massive, you know. It's a long time ago now. Back, my son might say to me, back in ancient times, Dad, when you were in the Europeans, and we got 3 bronze medals out of it, you know. But now we're turning around, we're picking up gold medals and silver medals, and as you said, 4 into the finals.
And it could have been 5, as we mentioned earlier.
Could have been. I mean, so Joe Ward so unlucky, Ray Moylett, you know, former European champion, so unlucky, and yeah, there's no doubt that boxing is really on an upward curve at the moment.
It's on a high, and as you know, Darren, there's a huge boxing fraternity in places like Ukraine, Germany, in Britain. Britain have only 1 representative in the finals.
Yeah, it's massive. You know, I think there's been a massive turnover, especially in the British team. Or the UK team, we should say, Great Britain team, since the Olympics. You know, quite a few have left, and you know, it's good to see the likes of Sylvie staying on, and you know, I think we were very, very lucky in that all our boxers stayed on for the Olympics, you know, and none of them went on to the pro ranks, because it's great for Irish amateur boxing. But unfortunately for all of us, we're under pressure. The young guns are coming, and there's a lot of them coming, you know. There really is, you know, and you can see it. Any age group, you go to the national championships now, and you look at their outstanding boxers from all over the country, and I think it's, you know, it's good sign for the future that we're going to have hopefully we'll have continued success.
And the thing about it, Peter, is these young guns that you mentioned, they're not at all intimidated by the big names that are there. They are just dead anxious to get in and have a go. I mean, fighters are a special breed, and I always said that about fighters. They really are, you know. They don't seem to have any fear at all. The youngsters are quite happy to get in with the Darren O'Neills, with the Paddy Barnes, the Conlons and so on. They're just quite happy to get in there and make their own mark. There never seems to be any fear at all with them. And I said the future is really bright, because there is this mad big conveyor belt full of really good young talented fighters, and I watched them, like, you know, week in, week out in underage championships at the stadium, and there's so many good youngsters coming up, and the fact that our team are doing so well now, that's just going to generate many more youngsters coming into the sport. And I know that you know, in the business of boxing is just colossal now. What's happening in let's say the sale of boxing equipment, it is increased dramatically because of the amount of people that are into it. It has now become fashionable to do boxing conditioning training, and boxing conditioning classes are available all over the country, not only in Dublin but all over the country, where people like you, like me, like, you know, just you want to get back in and do a bit.
Yeah.
You may have been a footballer, rugby player or something, and you want to do something that's new, something that's different, and this boxing conditioning training is what's drawing loads and loads of people into it. Not only men, boys and girls, but women as well. Lots of them wanting to do boxing because it's new and it's different, and it is total conditioning as well. It's a fantastic way to get yourself into shape.
Yeah, Darren, when we think back, you know, and I suppose it started maybe before, the momentum started before the high performance unit, because back in at the Barcelona games when Michael Cruz took gold and Wayne McCulloch took silver, I mean, how inspirational do you think that was to young boxers at that point coming through, who've since matured into championship winners?
Yeah, I think that was vital, to be honest, because at that stage, it was 1992, I was 7 years of age.
Yeah.
You know, you had the likes of Kenneth Egan, who had been a few years older, maybe 9-10, you know, Kluskis, the Andrew Murrays, you know, Andy Lees, the whole lot of those who have passed through and have set, you know, have laid the pavement for us, so to speak, you know. And I mean, I'm one of the elder crew in the high performance at the minute, you know, but I can remember that to a degree. And I suppose at that stage we kind of saw this pedestal and we said, oh my God, I'd love to be there, you know. And it was amazing. You were naive, and you know, that's what you wanted to be. And then you got to a certain stage where I suppose once we broke through onto it, we realised, well, there's all these Russians and Ukrainians and these to come up against. But I think slowly but surely we clawed our way back up and caught up with those. And I think for, as Mika says, the youngsters coming up now, they don't see a difference. They don't see a Russian as a problem or a Ukrainian, or there's no difference between an English, a Russian, Ukrainian, Latvian. It makes no difference where they're from, because they're looking at the likes of us beating them, you know. And if we can beat them, why can't they? Because they're coming up the same as us, and they're actually getting their mindset better condition at an earlier stage. So I think in future we'll be looking at a lot more success.
And of course, one of the differences, if I may quickly say, now with the high performance squad compared to when I was boxing back in ancient times, is that now they go Darren and company, they go off to the Ukraine, they go to Kazakhstan, they go with the Russians as well. So they're in and training with these people. So therefore they're not intimidated by them. I think was the Russians didn't want the Irish with them anymore, because you guys were learning too much.
Yeah, I mean, there was a few years ago, if you went back to the start of high performance, these countries wouldn't have us because we weren't worth having in. You know, we weren't good enough training partners for them. As simple as that. And now they don't want to have us because we're learning too much off them. And it's not even that we're learning off them, but we can assess their boxers and see what they're doing, you know, so we can find our weak points quicker. Because realistically, at this stage, you know, we're doing our own thing, you know. We've got our own setup. We've got our own, I suppose, uniqueness. But they're afraid to have us in now, you know. So
it's a great sign, and wonderful to see the way Irish boxing has progressed since inspirational figures like Michael Carruth and Wayne McCulloch did the business back in Barcelona, and of course others subsequently. At these major championships, we've already got a gold with John Joe Nevin. Now we switch our attention very firmly to Jason Quigley. You've spoken confidently about his chances in this contest, because you've met his opponent so many times. So for those who are joining us late, Darren, just reiterate why you think Jason has a great chance at gold.
Yeah, Jason's opponent today is going to be a very strong boxer. He's going to come forward with his hands quite high, but he's going to be looking for big shots, and I think he's just going to be too slow. I think Jason is very agile, you know, he's great movement, he's great selection of punches, he's very, very fast hands, you know, he has great distance, quite similar to John Joe. He's able to just dip back out of the way, you know, and then get the shots off. What I think Jason has, which the Romanian is not going to have, is he's got good feinting, he's got good defence. You know, it's that feinting which we've found in recent years has been the key to breaking down the top boxers, and Jason's good at that. You know, he's a. If you don't know when he's going to throw or what he's going to throw, so I think that's going to be the way forward for him today. I think you know, the Romanian is going to come forward and just fall in on top of him a little bit. He'll find himself just falling short of Jason, at which stage Jason will be able to counter him. And while he's standing with his hands up, Jason's just going to be letting go his fast hands again and again moving to the side. You know, I think it's not straightforward, but you know, on paper it's straightforward for him.
Yeah, not straightforward. And we also must keep in mind, Mick, that he's had 4 punishing contests. Now I know he's well used to championship boxing at this point, but it does take its toll.
It can take its toll, but it can have the opposite effect too. It can really get you razor sharp, and it does get you razor sharp. Jason's showing the scars of battle with his black eyes at the moment, but that just won't bother him or faze him at all. I think he'll be up and ready for this.
Okay, it's the biggest day in Jason Quigley's boxing career. He's enjoyed success at national level, I should say, European youth and under 23. Now he's looking to top the continental senior ranks. Let's cross over again to Minsk once again as Jason Quigley faces former world bronze medalist Bogdan Giuratoni of Romania in the middleweight final.
Yeah, here he is, Bogdan Giuratoni. Good hitter, big hitter, but as they suggested in the studio, a little slower, I should imagine, than Jason Quigley. Quigley, as you saw there briefly, as we saw a close-up of a nice shiner on his left eye, which, unless he was in a terrible row or he's a boxer by trade, well, the latter, but it's only a sign of the normal wear and tear of a boxer. There's nothing serious about it. Conor will be delighted. His father, with whom he's trained and with whom he learned the ropes, not these ones, but the ropes generally. He's a very good, and he moves with the fleet-footedness of featherweight. Although nowadays we don't have featherweights anymore. The weight divisions move up from bantam, and the next is light. This man looks a bigger man. He's only 22 though, same age as Jason. They're both 22 years old. Mariusz Gorny from Poland is the referee, an experienced referee. I'm not saying that just because he has grey hair. And there are the judges. Which three will be chosen? That's the big thing. One of them, you shall notice there, is Cuban, despite these being the European Championships. Good luck to Jason Quigley. Good luck to both boys. You need it in a sport as tough and as rugged as this. Eurotoni from Romania, the current champion of Romania, and Eurotoni bronze medalist at the last World Championships. Quigley, orthodox. He's learns all the time. Quigley is one of those that you like, and he listens. He's good hearing, and when, as the lad said yesterday, when instructions are delivered in his general direction, he generally picks them up and acts upon them. And so he must be in many ways a coach's dream. Nice right hand he poked onto Eurotoni just as he moved away there. Nice chap Quigley too. He really enjoys the boxing from Ballybuffet. Would be delighted with him. And if you cross the bridge down there, as you well know if you're from that area, there's Stranorla. But they'll all be on his side now. And Finn Valley, he's in red, Quigley, and he's a cool customer. He's has a lot of the John Joe Nevins about him, I think. Like, he's very stylish, good feet, throws a nice variety of punches, and there's an example of it. A little cluster of three, and a good duck under the ropes. Not allowed duck down too low, of course. You don't see that too often now. Used to see it in the old days when fellas would be ducking and diving, mostly ducking. This is a good start by Jason Quigley. He's handled out a nice variety of punch. Not to everywhere, not to all parts of the body of his opponent, Eurotoni. He's able to absorb those. They don't seem to have taken any effect from the Romanian. Left, double jab again from Quigley. He's very fond of that double jab, but he can poke up the right hand just after that to some. Been a good round for him, no matter how you vote it. It's a good round for Quigley. He's punched more often, and he's definitely landed more often. Stuff on the inside. Eurotoni scoring in there, but he's really punched a rangefinder, as Mick Dowling likes to call him, a rangefinder with his left hand there, and that's all it did. But whatever range it found, the range had distorted by the time he came up with a real punch. Good first round, last half minute now. Good first round for the man in red, and he's the man in green and gold as well, Jason Quigley. Hard to believe that this is his first major championship, except when you hasten to add that he's been already the European champion at under 19, the European champion at under 23, which is a really very hot grading indeed, and easily stepped up to this. I don't know how well Darren O'Neill is looking at this, because these two will meet again, I'm sure, en route to Kazakhstan in the autumn of this year. And a good finish to the round there from Eurotoni from Romania. Good boxer too, Eurotoni. And Billy Walsh, and of course in the corner there with Jason. And Eddie Bulger is the third member of the Ireland coaching squad. Zorantia came to Ireland. He's been here a good while now in Ireland, and he loves the life here. His family are here, and how well he's enjoying the coaching and how successful he's been too, Zorantia. The combination work of Quigley in that initial round was good. How it has affected the scoring we shall see presently. There you are, he won the first round from all three judges. So that's not a bad start, is it, for Jason Quigley? I'm not expecting you to count every single blow that's thrown, but you could see that Quigley was landing more often. Nice and accurate. On the ropes here, but that, I wouldn't mind that. He did that against the great Krytov, the world #1 in his semi-final, and he won it for a moment for his own safety, but he was well able to handle it. As I said earlier on, a touch of the John Joe Nevins about him. He seems to know he's got a lot of stuff in his locker, and really he's only beginning as a senior boxer. Punches nicely, he's got the whole range. Has to take a few, of course, too, but this is a good opponent, Yoritomi. See, he's got the range already, Quigley. And the range is good for him. He's a big man, of course, too. At 22, maybe he has stopped throwing, I don't know. But he's got enough frame there to go up at least another weight. I'm not suggesting you should. I'm not suggesting you should eat a packet of biscuits before lunch every day and another packet before tea.
1, 2 left hook, simple. I
think he took one too many there. It did hurt him a little. So Quigley trying to put together another of these combinations. He's good at it. He can keep it a distance, but that was a jabbing right hand. The jab back his head. 1, 2, 3 of them all coming from Yoritomi. The Romanian has come to life in the second round. Wild miss there from Quigley. Is not good stuff though from Quigley. Just when he looked he was getting wild, he became more tame. 1 minute to go in the second round. Left, right. 1, 2, 1, 2. Metronomic from Quigley. He's a lovely boxer. And that's the one thing you have to say about the whole Irish team. That they're all good boxers. You don't get in there and hammer away. It's a bit like saying watching soccer and big long ball down the middle and hoping for the best as against a passing game. Well, our Irish boxers play a passing game, if you will forgive the comparison. Quigley won the first round, won it comfortably according to all 3 judges, and he's a better combination boxer than is Yoritomi. Maybe Yoritomi has a more powerful left hook, but he's not as busy. He's just simply not as busy as Quigley. As another round ends and leaves us 3 minutes from the end, and now it's the turn of Zara and Billy to have their say. 2 very smart men, the men clad in green over in that red corner. I think it's Quigley's round again. He did that yesterday in the semi-final, had a little spell lying on the ropes, and if you do that, well, you leave yourself obviously a static target, but then he comes out and shows what a boxer he is. The combinations of Quigley are probably shaded as it is, so maybe I expect to see 2018 up here now on the screen in a couple of moments' time. Well, it's level on 2 and there's 1:20:18, and it means that Quigley is ahead. He's just got to be careful now. This is a very important 3 minutes in the life of young Jason Quigley from County Donegal. Yoritomi is ferociously strong. He's been really strong. He's won all his contests by 3-0 until he came to the semi-final where he won in round 2 TKO. Again, when you see the hunched, gasping body of Quigley down like that on his hunkers, you do get just a slight worry. The referee just telling him, Quigley, I think, is getting tired now. And if he's getting tired, that means he's a little more careless with making those 180 turns or 360 turns maybe. And the referee just telling both boxers to keep their boxing up, keep the gloves up for Quigley anyway. They're halfway through this very vital last round. You can actually see with the naked eye that Quigley is getting tired. And if the mind starts getting tired, the body will follow. This is a vital last minute and a half for the Irish champion. Yoritomi escapes from the ropes. And you know something, he's getting tired too. Tony gets in another good shot.
One body.
I may be wrong, I'm not in there, but Quigley certainly is beginning to look a little more tired. He's lying on, it's not his normal game. He likes to box at distance. They're inside the last minute of the third round. You see, he misses it with the left hand again. That's unlike Quigley. And that's, I think, just simply tiredness. Our experts back there with Peter Collins will know that, of how he feels, but it's not his usual sort. It's not his usual style, and it's just maybe slipping on him. Tony is trying to press the lever now in the last half minute. Now a big last 30 seconds here from Quigley is an absolute requirement.
Yes, good lad. Again.
Little caution there for Tony. We're leaning on Quigley. Last quarter of a minute, keeper punches up. Is the caution there again to Tony? That was dangerously near the belt. Last